अस्सलाम वालेकुम, वेलकम टू संडे ब्रंच विद लुबना। एक बार फिर मैं हाजिर हूँ आप लोगों के साथ। थैंक यू सो वेरी मच फॉर बीइंग अ पार्ट ऑफ द शो एंड फॉर चूजिंग TV1। वी नो यू हैव प्लेंटी ऑफ चॉइसेस एंड यू चूज TV1, सो थैंक यू सो वेरी मच फॉर दैट। और जो लोग आज हमेशा हमें देखते आ रहे हैं, वेलकम बैक। और जो आज लोग पहली दफ़ा देख रहे हैं इस शो को, मैं बता दूँ शो पे क्या होता है। इस शो पे मैं इनवाइट करती हूँ उन लोगों को जिन लोगों ने कुछ पॉजिटिव चेंजेस की हुई हमारे कम्युनिटी के अंदर। पीपल यू हैव हर्ड अबाउट और यू हैव सीन देम बट यू डोंट नो हु दे आर, व्हाट दे डू। तो उनको मैं इनवाइट करती हूँ शो पे, उनके बारे में बताती हूँ। और उसके साथ साथ काफ़ी इवेंट्स हो रहे होते हैं हमारे यहीं ह्यूस्टन में। आई फील बैड जो लोग दूसरे शहरों में देख रहे हैं, माशाल्लाह बहुत खुशकिस्मत हैं कि ह्यूस्टन में बहुत सारी चीज़ें हो रही होती हैं एंड वी आर सो लकी एंड फॉर्चुनेट टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ दोज थिंग्स। तो उन लोगों को इनवाइट करके बताते हैं भाई ये इवेंट हो रहा है, आप जाइएगा, बी अ पार्ट ऑफ इट। एंड दैट इज़ समथिंग दैट आई थिंक इज़ वंडरफुल फॉर TV1। एंड ये जो शो है इस वक्त देखा जा रहा है पूरे US में, पूरे कनाडा के अंदर। तो अगर आप भी इसमें हिस्सा लेना चाहेंगे, इफ़ यू वांट टू कॉल इन एंड से समथिंग, आपने गेस्ट से बात करनी, आपने शो के बारे में कोई बात करनी हमारे साथ, आप कॉल कर सकते हैं। नंबर आप इस वक्त स्क्रीन पे भी देख रहे होंगे। इट इज़ 855-886-6387 एक्सटेंशन 4। ये एक्सटेंशन बहुत ज़रूरी है कि अगर आपने हमारे शो तक पहुंचना है, यू हैव टू पुट द एक्सटेंशन इन एंड ऑफ कोर्स कॉल एंड टॉक विद अस। और उसके साथ साथ ये शो जो है आप इस वक्त तो देख रहे हैं ह्यूस्टन के टाइम पे 11:30 पे। ये आज रात को 10 बजे फिर रिपीट होगा, कल सुबह फिर 7 बजे रिपीट होगा, और फिर ये आई थिंक मंडे को 1:30 पे। सो यू गेट 3 मोर चांसेस ऑफ वॉचिंग इट। तो अगर आप जागे नहीं अब तक, कोई बात नहीं, बाद में देख लीजिएगा। चले मिलाते हैं आज के गेस्ट के साथ। और आप देख रहे हैं आज हमारा जो सेट भी है, काफ़ी खूबसूरत पेंटिंग्स भी यहाँ रखी हुई हैं, उन पर हम बात करेंगे डिटेल्स में, बिकॉज आई एम श्योर आप लोग भी बेचैन जाने के लिए भाई क्या आर्ट वर्क है, कैसे बना है, सब इन्फॉर्मेशन आपको दी जाएगी। उससे पहले मिलाते हैं आज के गेस्ट के साथ ताकि आप लोग भी जाने कौन हमारे साथ आए हैं। पहले जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं वो है अतर जमाल, जो ऑफ कोर्स ही इज़ अ इंजीनियर बाय प्रोफेशन, और उसके साथ साथ ये आर्ट का भी बहुत शौक़ रखते हैं। अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
क्या हाल है आपका?
अल्लाह का शुक्र।
थैंक यू, वेलकम टू द शो।
थैंक यू फॉर इनवाइटिंग अस।
नो प्रॉब्लम। और अभी आपसे बात करते हैं। और हमारी जो दूसरी गेस्ट है वो है हिना चौधरी, हु इज़ अ प्रोफेशनल इस्लामिक आर्टिस्ट। अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
Walaikum salam.
एंड हाउ आर यू?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for having me.
नो प्रॉब्लम, थैंक यू फॉर कमिंग आउट।
Thank you.
ओके, और आर्ट की बात होगी, सारे डिस्कशंस होंगे, लेकिन उससे पहले अतर साहब, विल स्टार्ट विद यू। इंजीनियर बाय प्रोफेशन और फिर आपका आर्ट वर्क, ये क्या हुआ, किस तरह से? मतलब यूजुअली इंजीनियरिंग में आप देखते नहीं है कि आर्टिस्ट भी आते हैं उसमें से। सो हाउ डिड दैट हैपन?
सो इट्स एक्चुअली अ लॉन्ग स्टोरी, बट आपको पता है पाकिस्तान के अंदर जब हम बड़े होते हैं तो हमारे जो पेरेंट्स हैं उनकी जो विशेस होती हैं वो ये होती हैं कि या तो आप इंजीनियर बने या आप डॉक्टर बने।
अच्छा।
तो उसमें बाज़ दफ़ा ये होता है कि आपकी जो बहुत से शौक़ होते हैं वो आप पूरा नहीं कर सकते उस ज़माने में।
जी।
तो जहाँ तक आर्ट का सवाल है, आर्ट का शौक़ मुझे हमेशा से ही था। ऑलवेज डूइंग सम स्केचिंग और व्हाटएवर द केस मे बी, मगर बिकॉज ऑफ देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स इन लाइफ दैट यू हैव टू अकम्प्लिश, आई वाज नॉट एबल टू रियली डू एनीथिंग विद आर्ट until recently. When I have finished college, I have a job, I have a home, I have a wife, and I have some kids.
Okay.
So now I have some time to really invest in art. So I think that I am trying to bring out the artist in me now. So I think that's the story that I have.
Okay. And you're also a part of the Islamic Arts Festival, which we'll talk more about in the next segment.
Right.
But you're also the board member for Islamic Arts Festival.
Yes. So I'm also a board member of Islamic Art Society,
Okay.
Which we started about 3 years ago. Actually, the festival started first,
Right.
and now we have the Islamic Art Society.
Okay.
We started that later, and the whole idea behind the Islamic Art Society is to really introduce a different side of Islam and the Muslim community to the larger American community.
Of course.
Because the way I look at it, I think Islam is a peaceful religion.
Right.
It has been misrepresented, and because of that, we have some issues with our image.
So you're promoting the positive image of Islam.
So we are really promoting the positive image of our religion and the community.
Okay.
And I think the focus that we have is not just on the Muslim community, but also the non-Muslim community, and especially the younger generation.
Right.
Because I think that living in this country, a lot of times, our kids don't get to learn the rich heritage that our religion brings, right?
Of course.
So I think that is what one of the focuses. And as parents, I think that our responsibility is just not to give our kids the tools to be successful, right. here, but also to remember their rich heritage.
Right, and
so,
I think that's important, especially
right,
living here. And of course, we're promoting through this the Islamic Society, Islamic Art Society. You're celebrating the Muslim culture too, right. And of course, looking at these paintings, I'm just waiting. But we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Now, I know there's been many. This is the third one that we'll talk about that later on. How about that? Sure. Before we go more into that detail, another question I had to ask you was: obviously, you said you had to be the engineer. Your parents were like, engineer बनना है, ये करना है. उसके बाद आपने कहा चलिए ये करना है. So obviously having a different profession and then obviously having a family, when do you get time to paint?
So my painting really starts after 10 o'clock.
After 10 o'clock. Okay.
When my kids are asleep.
Okay.
And I've taken care of most of the stuff, so I usually paint at night.
Okay.
Being busy with the Islamic Art Society so much, it's hard. My weekends are more busier than weekdays, so it's usually at night that I paint. So. Okay,
all right, definitely. We'll talk more to you. Now, coming to you, Hina, I wanted to ask you, obviously being a amazing professional artist, how did you get into this? Because usually you don't find people who are doing this, especially females, and I think not just doing it in such a superb way. How did you get into this?
Well, honestly, I've been interested in art my whole life.
Okay.
And for the longest time, I felt that I had to suppress that desire to create art because, as Brother Athar said, that, it's really not, welcomed in our society. You're supposed to be more of a professional,
exactly.
doctor, lawyer, engineer, something like that. But just recently, last 4 years, when I met Dr. Azimuddin, it really inspired me to go full force and just let it out, let myself express my feelings through my work. Before I used to do just general art. I used to draw animals, sceneries, people, and
exactly.
When I learned more about Islam and what Islam teaches us, the beauty of Islam, I try to incorporate that into my artwork. And every art piece that I do has a component or an Islamic thought behind it. So that's what really inspires me in my artwork. Everything is related back to Islam, even though, to just a non-Muslim, you might see the painting and you probably don't see the connection, but there is a thought behind it.
Very nice, very nice. I mean, that's wonderful. Has it been tough for you getting into this field? I mean, I know, and the reason why I say field, because like you said, people usually say, doctor, lawyer, that's like a profession. They don't consider them as artists as a professional, which I think, they're doing their own work. You're still putting in that same amount of hours, actually more hours. The thing is, and you don't have a manual to follow, you don't have these books to follow, you're basically being creative with that. Has that been hard for you, especially bringing in, incorporating in Islamic art?
There definitely are challenges, but alhamdulillah, especially in this Houston community, it's, we actually welcome this type of skill and this type of work. So thankfully for the Islamic Art Society, it has given me a platform to showcase my skills and my artwork. So it hasn't been as challenging as I thought it would be. It's actually gone very smoothly.
So that's surprising. You were expecting to be very tough.
I think my own challenges were within myself. Once I let those go, it opened up lots of opportunities for me.
Of course, definitely. And now I want to ask you the same question. When do you get time? Obviously, this is something you're doing around the clock.
Yes.
When do you get time? And I know you told me you have a small child
nap
too.
time.
Nap time.
When he naps, yes. But alhamdulillah, my parents help out as well, so they help watch my son, and I paint any chance that I get, throughout the day.
So how long does it take? I mean, I know we'll talk more about it, but how long does it take you to make one painting, for example? I mean, I'm going to ask you both, actually.
Yeah, honestly, it depends. Sometimes I'll just sit there and just stare at the canvas for an hour, just figuring things out. So that's part of the process. So I incorporate that into the time that it takes to actually make it.
Right.
So it just really depends. Sometimes I'll start a canvas and I'll just put it away and go back to it after months, and just, renew that thought process.
Okay, and you're laughing at that. There must be a reason.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because, in our lives we're so busy and the focus can't be on art always.
Right, of course.
And a lot of times you don't get the inspiration. So I'm probably like you, that I can't paint if I don't have the inspiration, behind it.
Right.
So I'll give you an example in the next...
Okay. Has it ever been that you, for example, you saw something, you were out, and then you said, let me come home and start a painting. Chalo, let's look at something. We saw this. I have something in my mind. Let me just do something. Has that ever happened with both of you, where you said, what, I have an inspiration right now.
All the time.
This is how we make paintings.
All the time.
This is exactly how,
Really? With that whole thing?
Right, with this whole thing.
I actually have a notebook beside my bed. I'll wake up with a thought. And I'm like, I have to sketch it real quick before I forget it.
Wow.
So I always keep like a sketchbook with me. I, take pictures wherever I go. Like inspiration is everywhere.
Right.
It's always.
It's always everywhere.
Right.
And I think the message you give through paintings, I think it's just a beautiful thing within itself. And I'm going to talk about this for a second. Usually I have topics that I discuss because being in this field, having a platform like TV, I think it's important to kind of discuss other issues too, which we kind of don't look at or we're just blindsided by, which I think we need to bring it out. The appreciation for art. And I guess we're lucky living here in Houston, and even in different, I know a couple of Ivy League schools, they actually have Islamic art, where you can actually go and see the paintings. They even have classes now.
Correct.
So it's becoming a lot bigger. And again, I don't go into politics, I don't go into religion, but I think it also inspires other people to become a part of it. What do you guys think?
So I can kind of talk about Islamic Art Society. So we're not a religious organization,
right?
And we are not a political organization. So the way I see our organization is an artistic organization, doing social work through art. Right. So because if you think about it, art is a common language between all religion, culture, societies, and to get people's attention, I think art is a very good vehicle.
Right.
And I think that, we get a lot of people from non-Muslim communities in our festivals, and they are amazed to see this side of Islam.
Right.
So I think that our religion needs to be focused in a different format and platform.
Right, of course. And I think that's even nicer when you have non-Muslims coming there. You kind of feel proud that, this is, especially if you're an artist. I think, amazing work you guys doing. And I know there's I think when you guys started, you guys had a few artists. Right now, this festival that's happening, you're going to have over 40 artists participating.
That is correct.
Yeah. And who coordinates all this? That's my other thing. It's so much work, so much planning that goes behind it. And plus, the artists are working so hard, too.
So Dr. Azim is the chairman of the board.
Right.
We have 7 other board members.
Right.
But Dr. Azim is the guy who really has the keys for the organization, and he's the one that the whole organization circles around, and he's very dedicated to.
Right. I think he was on my show about 2 years ago, when the first Islamic Arts Festival was happening, and I think being here, and I know he's in medicine, having a field of medicine, but also kind of bringing all these people together. Before we'll talk more about that. I have to take a break. आप लोग कहीं मत जाइएगा, छोटी सी ब्रेक लेते हैं और अभी वापस आए हम. Okay, and we are back on air. Of course, आज हमारे साथ आए हुए हैं 2 amazing artists मैं कहूँ, और इनकी जो paintings हैं मैं वहाँ से शुरू करती हूँ. हम थोड़ी सी बात करेंगे जो Islamic Arts Festival होने जा रहा है, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ उसमें आप क्या देखेंगे वहाँ पे, like I said earlier, उसमें 40+ artists होंगे जो आप वहाँ जाके देख सकते हैं. It's a free event. We'll talk about that more in detail. Let's talk about the paintings. ये खूबसूरत जो paintings हैं मेरे पीछे, and I will start off with you. I think this one is yours in the corner. Yes. Tell us about this colorful one जो आप लोग देख रहे हैं सब पीछे. Tell us about this painting.
So this is called Pillars. It's a representation of the 5 pillars of Islam.
Nice.
And you know, each line represents the 5 pillars.
So now I don't know if आप लोग देख पा रहे हैं, if you all can see that or not, but ये जो एक जो pillar है जो ये white color के अंदर, इस पे glass लग, is that glass on
Yes,
that?
that's glass.
So
it's
broken
actual
glass.
Yep.
So you did that.
Broken glass. So the mediums that I used were acrylic paint, broken glass, and glitter, because glitter makes everything better.
It's very sparkly. Glitter always makes everything nice. Very nice. And that second one next to it is yours.
The second one, yes. It's Islamic calligraphy that reads La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, and it's just I try to merge traditional Islamic art forms with the more modern forms out there, so it's a more like a contemporary look to it.
And what kind of what medium did you use for that?
This is mixed media. It's acrylic paint, glass paint, and fabric paint.
Right. It has that glass look on it.
Yes.
Okay, obviously, I'm not an artist, but I'm trying to. I mean, I wish आप लोग इसको किसी तरह से और पास से देखते, तो आप लोग नहीं देख पा रहे हैं, तो you have to go to this festival. And साहब ये आपकी painting है जो नीचे यहाँ, और मैं अगर आप लोग कितना लोग देख पा रहे हैं, it's a bird on top, right? Which, like
it's a swan.
A swan type.
Right.
So tell us about this painting.
So this is in acrylic, and the thought behind this this painting is the reflection of the Almighty in our surroundings. And the name of this painting is Divine Reflections. And this is part of a series of paintings that I have in the festival this year. And what it really tells you is that, you know, God is everywhere.
Right.
For people who wants to look at the signs.
The signs part, right.
And Allah has said in the Quran that He has breathed His soul, He has breathed His Spirit into our soul. And so we humans are in some forms or fashion are a reflection of that image. So that is the idea behind this. And at the bottom, the reflection is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Right. Oh, very nice. I mean, it's a lot of work. I'm looking at each of these paintings. आप लोग जो हमारे viewers हैं, इतना देख नहीं पा रहे होंगे उसको इतने पास से. I did want to share something. We had a call off air right now. उन्होंने पूछा कि अगर आपने इसमें हिस्सा लेना हो, अब obviously ये वाला तो खत्म हो गया है. I mean, खत्म क्या हो गया? I mean, you already are getting to that next week.
Right.
So if they want to participate, do the artists have to pay a fee for this, or how does that work exactly?
So there is no fee for it.
Okay.
The artists can register on our website.
Okay.
And so this year we had a lot of artists. So what I would recommend that you register early in the year, so that we'll have a space for you, because this year we had to refuse like 10 to 15 artists.
Right, because you have so many wanting to be part of it.
Correct.
So these artists that you have on this, on the Islamic Art Society, are they all from Houston, or? Because, I mean, I know you all do it in Houston, but I see this thing going to different states one day. I see it happening internationally, inshallah, in the future. Inshallah. And then you'll come back in a few years and be like, yeah, now we're like doing it across Dubai, and we're doing it in London. So tell me about that. Is it just Houston artists that are part of this, or?
So far, you know, the focus of this festival has been the Houston artists because of availability, I guess.
Of course, right.
But this year we have some artists from Dallas. We are getting requests from other states as well. So hopefully next year, you know, we'll have artists from other states as well. So, but right now, 90% of our artists are from Houston.
90% of
our local, yes.
Okay, and this festival that's happening, it's happening next weekend.
It is happening next Saturday and Sunday, the 29th of October.
You had to make it 2 days because one day was not enough.
One day was not enough. The first festival was one day and it was not enough.
I know.
So it's going to be on the 29th and 30th in Masjid Al Salam in Spring.
Right.
It's also called Champions Masjid. Right. And it's going to be from 10:30 to 5:30.
10:30.
Both days.
Okay, so that's 2 days that they have to come to. I wanted to ask you both another question. Obviously, this Islamic festival, Islamic Art Society, you have so many artists being a part of it. You have so many people coming and visiting. From your first festival that happened 2 years ago, How many people do you think attended? Because I'm sure there's a way you guys keep a track of
sure,
how many
we
people
do,
visit.
yes.
How many came in the first one, which was about 2 years ago, and what are you expecting this year?
So the first year we started, it was only one day. And during that day, I believe we had close to 4,000 people.
4,000 people.
4,000 people.
This might be 5,000 plus.
So last year we had 5,000 plus.
Wow.
So this year we're anticipating more than that.
Wow.
So mashallah, with every year it's growing.
It's growing, right?
Not just in artists, the number of artists, but also the community.
Right.
So right now we are pretty much involved and very closely involved with interfaith organizations.
Right.
And a lot of the non-Muslims are very interested in the festival.
Right.
So,
of course. No,
so
I think it's definitely giving artists a platform also.
Sure.
And obviously you're on the board,
Sure.
so you would know more about it. But Hina, I wanted to ask you that, you know, obviously there's so many different places you could join for Islamic arts. What made you be a part of Islamic Arts Festival?
The Islamic Arts Festival, I honestly, I haven't worked with an organization that is so committed, so organized and so creative.
Right.
And again, shout out to Dr. Azimuddin, because he is the driving force behind all of it. And he really inspires all of us. He, you know, alhamdulillah, has given us this platform to showcase our art and also to give back to the community, to show the beauty of Islam and to just, you know, learn from each other. So I think it's just amazing.
Right, and I think his artwork is at the Champions Masjid, right?
Yes.
His tile work that he does. So I can tell people when they go there, they can look out for that. So, I mean, we should have had pictures of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important when you have someone who's actually doing it, and then it just starts, who sets the, you know, sets it, and then everyone starts following it, and that's really important. Now, honestly, you know, there are so many benefits I think the society can definitely, you know, get from this thing. Because at this event, you're going to have lots of different things. There's also the interactive, different, I believe, the demonstrations that are going to be happening at this festival.
There's a live painting. Nizar Maknojia is going to be doing a live painting, correct?
So they can see the artist doing the work.
Doing a live painting. There's going to be live henna being done throughout the day. And I believe Ebru. Yes, Ebru is a huge.
What is Ebru for those people?
It's a form of art originated in I believe Turkey, where you take paint and you pour it into water in different droplets, and you swirl it around to create different designs.
Very nice.
And you put paper on top of it so it absorbs the paint, and you come out with a marbled paper. So it's really beautiful. There's so many different ways to do it.
It is probably the most popular event in our
Okay, and this one that's happening this Saturday, Sunday at the Islamic Arts Festival, there's something new in it. We were talking about the booth. If you guys can elaborate more on that for those people, which wasn't done before.
Right, so this year we have a booth where people can go in and take photographs.
Okay.
We're going to have some photographers over there as well. You could take a selfie where people can put on a traditional Islamic or Arabian, say, gown or a hat and take a selfie.
Is that for adults and kids or just adults?
It's for everybody.
For everybody,
You're
okay.
Right. It is for everybody.
That's good.
Last year, one more thing is the food trucks. So we had halal food trucks last year.
Okay.
But this year we have more of them.
Okay, so it's more choice?
Right, there are more choices. We have Pakistani, we have also Mediterranean.
Okay.
We have marble slab ice cream there. We're going to have Dunkin' Donuts. We're going to have Laziza.
Okay, you know, we're all going to get hungry now.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like brunch time.
So even if you're not interested in art, you should come to this festival just because of the food. So.
Okay. And one more thing, you know, obviously our culture is very diverse, and I think they're, especially getting together at this event, you're going to have all different faiths, you're going to have different backgrounds, and you're getting all together for a day where everyone can be a part of this thing and enjoy the festivities. And one thing I like about this festival is that the children can come. They are not going to be getting bored. Because I always kind of bring the topic of kids in, because I feel when kids go somewhere, they need something to do. Because what I have seen, and I know everyone's going to hate me saying this, what I see is that the moms are busy talking or the dads are doing something and the kids are just like we want to go home, or mom, and they're just sitting over there, or they're running around, which is a topic within itself that, if you do take your kids, not just to this festival, anywhere you go, that doesn't mean it's a playground for your children. You have to respect the artwork. And I'm not just talking about the artwork. Anywhere you go, this is something you should be teaching your kids, that, what, you sit down over here, or you look at something, and if it says do not touch display, you do not touch display. Right. Because personally, like me and my family, we actually go to the museum a lot, which I don't see a lot of South Asians going, which I think we really should take kids, because that's another something that you're teaching your children, and you need to kind of open up their minds towards that direction too. Yes. So if you do bring out kids, and don't worry, I can say this, you guys don't have to say it. If you do bring kids out to this festival and you see these art pieces, that doesn't mean that kids can go running around and doing stuff. Just respect that. Just like you would want, if someone comes to your house, they respect your items at the house. The same respect has to go for these artists. So I think that's wonderful. You guys have these activities for children to do where kids will not get bored. So right. There'll be lots of activities for kids too.
Yes, there are a lot of activities for kids where they can draw. Right. They can learn how to do calligraphy.
Oh, wow.
Which a lot of kids are interested in.
I'm sure.
So I think that it's a good time for them to be introduced to calligraphy and various forms of art. Right. So we actually encourage all parents to bring the kids.
Of course, of course.
So, yeah.
No, that's good. And I think living in Houston, we have that platform. We have so many people living here, and so many people are getting interested in it. It doesn't have to be just Muslims coming to this thing, basically. Right. If you have a neighbor, say, hey, you know what, let's go out, let's go to this event, let's go take a look. And it's like, and the other thing is you can always carpool. I'm trying to get this thing in the community because we don't. We do not carpool. Right. It's just a sad thing. Someone's driving from the other side of town. One more thing I wanted to ask you all. Obviously, you have different artists. I know there's male artists and there's female artists, right? I can ask you this: how many do you think are female? How many? Or do you have it all mixed up when it comes to that?
So we really don't care. Male and female are all welcome, and in fact, majority of our artists are females. Right.
And I think that's that's where I was getting at, to be honest.
Females are generally more creative.
So, you said it, I did it. Okay. Anyway, we're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back. Thank you again for watching Sunday Brunch with Lubna. And of course, हमारा बड़े ही कलरफुल आज शो हो रहा है. हम इस्लामिक आर्ट की बात कर रहे हैं. एक बहुत ही ज़बरदस्त इस्लामिक आर्ट्स फेस्टिवल होने जा रहा है. उसका भी हम डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं आप लोगों के साथ. और going back to something really quickly, बाद में बताते हैं paintings के बारे में. I know paintings भी change हो गई हैं. And I wanted to go back and actually to both of you. Right before the break, we were talking about. I asked you a question: how many male, how many females? There was a reason, and you actually said the right answer, that women are more creative. But besides that, the reason why I was asking is because there's so many different things that happen here in our community. And I'm not just talking about Houston, I'm talking about different places where the women do not get that platform. And I can vouch for this, where उर्दू में मैं कह देती हूँ कि जहाँ पे औरतों को वो जगह नहीं दी जाती है, कि ज़्यादातर मर्द जो होते हैं कहते हैं जी हम आगे जाएंगे, हम अपना बताएंगे, चाहे वो कोई भी बात हो, कोई भी इवेंट हो, कोई भी program ho. So Hina, being a part of this, and that's what I was asking, and having more females in it, that obviously must give you a great feeling. So many females are a part of this Islamic Arts Festival.
It really is such a great feeling. I have two beautiful baby nieces that really look up to me. So I feel like it's my duty to show them what they can accomplish if they really put their mind to it.
Of course.
So I think it's great, not just for my own family members, but for the community youth as well.
Of course. And it's something for that's why Islamic Art Society, they're actually doing this. They're giving them the platform. And especially it doesn't matter that, where you can feel, just because I'm a female, I will not get the chance to do it. So you're actually getting the chance to represent yourself. Going to that, representing, tell us about this beautiful painting. And I know this one is yours, the Kaaba one, right? Tell us about that. And I know it's a glass one again.
Yes, yep.
See, I'm learning. Okay.
So I've used a glass again. Again, glitter makes everything great.
Right.
So you do see the sparkles on the Kaaba itself. So it's just a very abstract, minimalistic representation of the Kaaba.
Right, of course. Right. And the glass one is right over here. You see the gold part is where the glass is, right? And the glitter's all over.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And the one right next to it?
So that's one of my, I call that like my signature style. So my art is all about texture and color and just different feels to it. So it's not just, you know, flat painting. So if you look at it closely, right? There's lots of texture to it. I use different types of paints, you know, but the masjid skyline is what I love doing. I have lots of different renditions of that.
Right, so it's basically a masjid that you made because you could tell by the colors on the side.
Yeah, so it's just an abstract masjid skyline.
It's beautiful. And there's one more that I can show. It's this one. I don't know if you can see it, how well you all can see it, but I'm going to try to show it as best I can. So tell us about this painting too.
So this is one of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's beautiful names, Ar-Rahim.
Ar-Rahim, right.
And is just, you know, abstract rendition of it as well.
Of course, it's beautiful, and the colors are just gorgeous with it. And so, I mean, आप लोग देख नहीं पा रहे इस पेंटिंग को, मैं देख रही हूँ पास से, तो मुझे पता है जिसमें colors हैं, and then obviously the texture on it is gorgeous, and of course beautiful. And अब आप बताइए अपनी पेंटिंग के बारे में.
So, so as an artist, I am more of an expressionist. I am not a traditional you know, Islamic art artist, but I am also, I kind of try to mix the Islamic art with the modern art, especially the representations of Sufism as it relates to the Islamic Sufism. So this painting right here is just a rendition of that,
Okay, if you want, you could pick it up because they're saying the glass is not showing.
Oh, sure.
It.
Okay. Yeah, so sure, I can.
We want, and you could show it into this first camera. Yeah, that's fine.
The one right here? Okay. And basically.
No, I'm sorry, just face it this way so they can see.
Oh, okay.
That's good. That's
right here?
Perfect.
Okay. And so this is a representation of the Sufi dance.
Right.
That is called Sama.
Sama, right.
And in Persian it's called Sema. And basically it is a physical movement that these dervishes do to achieve, you know, piety and closeness to the Almighty. So that is a representation of that, and it is on acrylic. And when you were asking about inspirations, so if you take the paint off of this painting, you're going to see so many scratches.
Really?
So, right. So this actual painting I started about 3 years ago, and I completed it in 6 months. Right. But I had to erase and redo the painting so many times. But the actual painting that I did was only in 20 minutes.
Wow.
So that is what inspiration is. So once you get the inspiration, it doesn't take you a lot of time to make it.
Of course, definitely. And I think, you know, that's why I wanted to show it, because the glass it was reflecting off. Definitely, you can place that down. That's not a problem. And there's another one over here that I don't know if you can see. It's actually a shell. I wish there was a way to just zoom it in, but there's actually 2 koi fish on it, right?
Right.
And then it's in a shell, and there's a glass on top of it.
It's a 3D, yeah.
It's a 3D effect. So it's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm not sure if you all can see it or not. Well, you know what? Agar cheezein aap logon ne dekhni hai na up close se, then you have to go to this arts festival. Okay, I think we're going to be running out of time soon. I do want to ask you before you go, first of all, about this event. It's happening on the 29th and the 30th, and it's happening at the Champions Masjid.
Correct.
Is there a website that people can go to and take a look at?
Yes, you could visit our Facebook page as well, Islamic Art Society of Houston on Facebook. You could just search it, and also the IslamicArtSociety.com. That's our website. So all of the information will be on there, but it's this weekend. You can't miss it. There's really no reason for you not to come. Everything is there, everything for everyone, for kids, for parents, for non-Muslims, for Muslims, everyone.
Of course.
So please come out there.
For hungry people as well.
For hungry people too. And the best part is that it's 2 days. So, you know, sometimes you cannot make it on Saturday, you cannot make it on Sunday. So you have those options. So jisko jana hoga wo chala jayega. But come to it, and these paintings, I really cannot emphasize enough. The way I am looking at these paintings from this close, I'm telling you, when you go, it's just something you can learn, a different kind of mixed media that you can use, a different kind of colors, a different kind of designs. It's really, it's not doing justice by just looking at on TV. You really have to go to this festival and that other painting that I showed too. You really have to go and take a look at these things because it's really, I cannot tell you the colors, the design, the texture. It's really worth seeing. And then, take your kids and, tell them about it. One more thing I wanted to ask you is there this is a free event, right? There's no cost for it if people wanted to come out too?
Correct. It's a free event.
It's a free event.
Right.
So there's no cost. You can go a family of 10, family of 4, and go and attend it. And the other thing is many times when you go to these events, the problem is that the kids are hungry or you're getting hungry, so you can always step out. There are plenty of food trucks that you can get food from. So that's not even a problem. Okay, and if someone wanted to volunteer in this thing, I'm sure you already have the volunteers for this year. For the upcoming year, who do they contact or what do they do?
So they can go on our website.
Okay.
We have a form there that they can fill out, and they can select which area they want to volunteer, and we'll get in touch with them.
Okay, definitely. So this is your 3rd annual Islamic festival that's happening, Islamic Arts Festival happening. And again, you had 5,000 people last year.
Correct.
So I'm sure the number will be higher. And I think last year we had Samia Nazir and Fahim Somani on the show. Right. And I remember they brought in their painting. So the thing is, you guys always come on TV1 too, so obviously people will come too. Right? If you think of it that way. Definitely. No, I think you guys are doing some great work. I think it's an inspiration. And Hina, the reason why I'm really glad that you're on the show, of course I'm happy you're too, but it really brings me a lot of happiness when a female comes on the show because it inspires other girls out there. It encourages girls out there, and being a mom of a 13-year-old, I understand how important it is to do something or show people who they can look up to, who they can follow in their footsteps. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys.
No,
definitely does.
What do you think?
And it all starts with your family. Alhamdulillah, I have a very supportive and loving family who really push me and inspire me every single day. Right. So, my message to the viewers out there is to, inspire your family members to live their dreams. If they're passionate about something, help them,
help them with that.
Yeah, achieve that goal.
And, it's funny you said that. Did any of you two, I know you had to do the engineering. Mummy daddy ne kaha tha engineering karni hai. But did you ever have that where there was anyone ever said to you, painting karni ye kaun sa koi cheez hai? Ye kaise, for you especially, that ye kaun sa koi career hai? Did you ever have that? I'm going to ask both of you a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's haters everywhere.
There's haters everywhere, but you know what? You keep doing what you're good at.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter what anyone
as long
says.
as, you have the right intentions. Throughout my life, I've learned that, if you do something with the right intentions, that's the best way to do it.
Right.
Regardless of what job it is or what career path you choose, you should do everything with the right intentions. And with Islamic art, my intentions are to give back to the community, to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to promote Islam in a beautiful way. So, inshallah, we can accomplish that.
Of course, and I think you guys definitely are. And like I said, you're celebrating the Muslim culture, and I think it's such a beautiful culture. It's such a beautiful thing, and I cannot say more than be a part of this thing. Come out, be a part of it. ये सोचना कि हम कहाँ जाएंगे, क्या है? It's a Muslim culture, and bring people who you want to show a positive image to. Someone that you want to show that this is the community, this is what we're doing, this is what Muslims are doing. It's not just what you hear about or what people are saying. There's so much beauty in this culture. And the heritage, I think it's the heritage, like you said at the beginning of the show, teaching the kids the heritage. If we don't do this, the kids will forget everything. It's so important. What do you have to say?
Right.
Do you think so?
Yeah, like I said, our next generation is something that needs to be reintroduced by our heritage, because if you live in this culture, they know about John Lennon, they know about a lot of different, Picasso, but they also need to learn who our Islamic artists were, the scientists were, and I think that is only going to happen with programs like what we are doing, because parents these days are so busy with their daily chores that you would need somebody to really take the time off and teach them these things. And I think that art is something that can be used as a vehicle for that. So.
Right, and it's a way to also do something you always wanted to do, and then you can always learn it. Because I'm sure there are classes that are being taught at. Can someone take classes? Let's say if there's someone who says, you know what, I want to learn how to do Islamic art. So the Islamic arts, do they have anything like that?
Yes, we actually we just in August we had an Islamic art course at Mariam Islamic Center, and we had a great turnout with that. And we continue to do different art courses throughout the Houston area. So you know, viewers can go to our website and get more information on that as well.
And this Islamic arts program that you have, is it for a couple of days? How does it work exactly?
So the last one we had was 2 consecutive weekends. So it was a Saturday and Sunday, and then Saturday and Sunday again. So we try to do it so people can work it around their schedules. Students can come, you know, on the weekends. Professionals can come. You know, moms can come, dads can come. So it's open to everyone. It's open to everyone.
So of course they can look on the website. And they can get more information about that. Right? Okay, definitely. And before you both go, of course I want to thank you for being a part of the show, taking the time. I'll start off with you. Thank you so much for coming out. I know you're busy with your engineering, and then also you're on the board member of Islamic Arts. What would you like to say before you go to our viewers?
So what I would like to say is to, you know, come to the festival, but bring your kids. Because I think that your kids are going to determine, you know, how our culture grows in this country. So I think that, you know, bring your kids, bring your hungry kids. We'll have plenty of food. We'll have plenty of activities for them. And bring your neighbors. I mean, I think that it's a very good chance for us to introduce, you know, non-Muslims to our culture. So bring your neighbors, bring your co-workers, bring the whole neighborhood.
Of course, definitely. And thank you so much for coming out, for being part of the show. And of course, to you too, before you go, what message would you want to leave our viewers with?
I would say it's never too late to accomplish your dreams. You know, even if you're 50, 60, 70, if you want to be an artist, be an artist. You know, there's nothing wrong with being an artist. There's no stigma to it. You know, there's beauty in everything. So I would say to all the young girls and boys out there, you know, pick up a paintbrush. You don't know what you can accomplish until you actually try. And that's what happened with me. I just went at it, and you know, it all just came together. So just try, don't give up, just keep trying. And there's a lot that you can achieve if you really put your mind to it and if you have the correct intentions. And, you know, come to the festival. It's going to be fun.
Right. Of course, we hear so many festivals happening in Houston. There's so many fall festivals, obviously, with all the schools happening. But I think this Islamic Arts Festival, I think it's nice. And it started off with very small. I mean, I'm going to say very small. It started with 25 people in the beginning, or was it how many? I'm talking about the first year.
So first year, we started with 25 artists. And we had around 4,000 people. And that was only one day. Last year, we had 35 artists and close to 5,000, more than 5,000 people. And this year, we have, mashallah, 40 artists. We had to refuse like 10 or 15 of them because we didn't have enough space. And we are anticipating more than 6,000 people this year.
You know what's happening? I think the very big convention center, the way you guys are going, I think that's,
inshallah, that will happen.
That's what's going to happen. Because it's just amazing that there's so many artists you're finding, and especially people in different states who want to be part of it. You know, you can also do something in the future where you can do it in different states, and like I said, internationally, where I think a lot of people would love to be a part of it, and again, bring the next generation out there. Definitely. And of course, इस event की हमने जो बात की थी, Islamic Festival होने जा रहा है next Saturday, Sunday, the 29th and the 30th. The time is 10:30 to 5:30, I believe. And it's happening at the Champions Masjid. It's a free event. Obviously, they have free parking. They have lots of food. You have a variety of food to choose from. And obviously, basically, this event is celebrating the Muslim culture and promoting the positive image of our community, along with Muslims and non-Muslims. I think that's such a beautiful thing. You know, it just feel like you just feel like being a part of it, even though you're not an artist. You know, definitely. And of course, it's going to be diverse, very different things over there. They're going to have a henna. They're going to have Ebru and painting, and lots of activities for school children. And what is the youngest child that can attend?
There is no age limit.
There's no age limit. So you can bring like a little 2-year-old.
Bring whoever you can, yes.
It doesn't matter how old you are. It could be any school children on it. Of course, no, definitely keep at it. One more thing I wanted to ask you guys before you guys do go. I want to ask you, Hina, first. When was the first time you started painting? Like when you were a young child, did you always imagine that I'm going to be a painter?
I wanted to be an artist.
You did?
Yeah, I wanted to be an artist, but you know, the voices that tell you that art is not really, it's only a hobby. It's not a career.
It's not a career.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm like, I'm going to make it my career, inshallah.
Right. And you know, I mean, I know you told us that your parents were very supportive of
Yes.
you. Now, what about someone who has a child who's really into artwork, who really, you know, it doesn't matter how good they're at it or not, but they really want to make that a career? What advice would you want to give to those parents? Should they say, no, 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 you have to do your medicine, you have to do your engineering, you do that, and then do the artwork? Or what would you advise to those parents that are watching right now?
I would advise them to always have a backup.
Okay.
You know, it's great that you want to do art, but you should always have a backup. You know, you should, you know, education definitely.
Right.
Always, you know, focus on your education. Art should, you know, come. I don't want to say secondary.
Right.
But you know, you should focus on that as well. But definitely keep your education as a priority.
Right, because you have the education to fall on.
Yes.
And the reason I ask you that, a couple of, I don't know, there's so many shows I did. I had a person on the show, and they were talking about, a caller had called in about different careers. And that parent was saying that their son wants to be a football player. And basically they said, no, you know, do whatever you're doing, but have your education.
Yes.
Anyway, well, thank you so much to both of you. And it's time to wrap up the show. जाने से पहले ज़रूर आप लोगों से मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ कि जहाँ रहें खुश रहें, ज़िंदगी बहुत छोटी है, हर एक से बना के रखें, लेकिन अगर कुछ गलत होता है तो कुछ कीजिए उसके बारे में, वरना कल वो आपके साथ भी हो सकता है। दुआ में ज़रूर याद रखिएगा। अगले हफ्ते फिर मुलाकात होगी। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।